And the saga continues for the San Francisco 49ers. Trey Lance is going to start tomorrow against the Raiders per Kyle Shanahan. And what does it all mean? Brock Purdy seems like the leader in the clubhouse, but is this really a competition? And what does Trey Lance have to do to be the starter? And I'm going to answer the first question. Someone who believes it's a competition is Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy showed out at the end of last year. He could have played hard to get and said, I'm going to take care of my elbow. I'm not coming out till I'm ready. But he saw what Trey Lance is doing. Trey Lance has improved with the short game, hitting the layups more consistently. Not perfect by any means, but enough of a threat to make Brock Purdy get out there. Now, Brock is working at a disadvantage. Unless you're getting better, you're getting worse. The man didn't have an off season, and I'm not faulting him for that. And in fact, he's coming early. He came in early, or he came to training camp when he needed to be. And of course, he's going to be a little bit behind. But how quickly people forget, how quickly the media forgets that this guy is putting his body on the line for himself to keep his job and for the team. But everybody is going to forget that unless he deliver. So I think, but Brock seeing what Trey Lance is doing, if you ask me deep in my heart, just looking at him, Trey Lance could be the guy. He's got the arm. He's got the want to stand in that pocket. That's what he wants to be. Like, forget all this. There's stereotypes of what this guy wants to be. He does have some scrambling ability. He can run, but that's not who Trey Lance really wants to be. He doesn't want to rely on that. He wants to be a quarterback. He wants to get in that pocket and drive it and run when he needs to. One thing I'm really happy with is that the 49ers are not doing any of that read option. So the offensive linemen and the rest of the team and the rest of the skill players, they know what to do. You're not changing the offense for one player. But what does Trey got to do? Can he outdo Brock, who has some tremendous finesse? Brock is, he has more burst than Trey. Trey's more of a like an Elway or a Favre. You can use the power to get away and then, break away. He has more speed than those guys, but he's no Lamar Jackson, nor does he want to be, nor do I want him to be, nor do the 49ers really want him to be. And I'm going to put this out there. It's going to take not for Trey to just outdo Brock a little bit. He's going to have to outdo him a lot, really outplay him, and can he get it done? And I'm going to tell you what Brock has over Trey. He shows confidence and leadership. Some reason, this guy has the belief of the locker room, and even more than Trey. I think Trey does to a degree. I'm not trying to oversimplify things. There's nuances to all these points. But Brock has the confidence. He makes you believe in him. He just has whatever it is. But when you look at him, it's like, wow, Trey, he just has that feel. Like, deep in my heart, I think Trey is a guy. But what Brock has over Trey is that confidence, all these little nuance plays. He has all these gadgets. He's like Globetrotter, spinning around. He knows where he is. He's there. He spins around. He knows where guys are. But this is what scares me about Brock. One day he's going to turn around, boom, into the wrong guy. Then he's going to spin back around and be out of the game again. That's what scares me about Brock. And I think Trey is learning fast that he doesn't want to be that guy. Trey's more of a power guy, and he says he's learning how to, not take the guy head on. You got to do that when you're young, but eventually you got to learn how to slide and stuff. And I think this, somehow it had to be discussed that this read option is out, and, you're going to be a real quarterback. We need our quarterbacks healthy. And look at, even if these guys are, I'm talking about the line really quick, even if outside of Trent Williams, these guys aren't good now, they might end up being better. One-on-one, they're going to be better, but it takes chemistry. It takes chemistry with the quarterback. and the line to know where the quarterback's going to be, and they're all switching around. And the same thing with the receiving core. The receiving core drops a lot of passes. It's going to take chemistry. We'll see how it works with Trey Lance, the chemistry, right? But what Trey has is that I want to stand tall. He's bigger than Jimmy Garoppolo. He's bigger than Brock Purdy. He wants to get in there and boom, fire it up, baby. Right? I think, and I can see that a big strong dude, stand up tall in the pocket. He wants to do that. It's going to take experience. He's getting experience. He's working hard to work on the short game, right? And getting the footwork down. He has the drive, but Brock Purdy already has it already. He's on his toes. But one day he might be on his toes and get knocked out of his cleats. But the other thing besides his confidence and all the little nuances is experience. Lots of college experience. Trey just needs to play. But what Trey doesn't have is these different arm angles. Brock has a bunch of little arm angles. You're going to need that. Trey just overhauled his whole throwing motion. He kind of comes from, one shot all the time. So I think Trey is experience away from being a dude based on his work ethic. And I think he could really be the guy. And I would be saddened if he ever left the 49ers, unless we got a really good player, maybe a defensive end in return, and it's still probably not worth it. I'd love to see what Trey has. So if Trey shows out tomorrow, hey, maybe there's a chance he could supplant Brock. And I hate to do this to this guy, Brock, because, man, you're doing it. Remember this, friends. Oh, you're doing it for the team. How quickly people are going to forget, what you're going through for them. You got to deliver, right? And it is what it is. But that shows how mentally tough both Trey Lance and Brock are going through this. So that's where I'm thinking both these guys can get better. And I'm going to tell you what I think is going to make Brock Purdy's ceiling higher. If Brock Purdy can stay healthy and win a Super Bowl, he will increase in swag, and he's probably going to increase, in accuracy and, we'll say self-preservation over time. He's going to be a lot smarter. He's going to, know when to hold them and know when to fold them, know when to get down and when to spin around. All right. Cause he scares the hell out of me. This guy moves around. One day he's going to spin into the wrong dude, but eventually with experience and swag and knowing his value to a team right now, he's got to prove himself. So does so does Trey, Sam Darnold's somewhere else in that thing, I'll talk about him another time. But I really believe in both these quarterbacks. I think Brock's ceiling this is not what he has. Look, he has a noodle arm, but he's got a lot of guts. He's got courage to fling it out there. I hear he's throwing interceptions in practice, but you know what? You got to go for it, man. I love Alex Smith as a dude, but sometimes he wouldn't go for it. Brock goes for it. He's got the guts to get the glory, but you know what? If you don't get the glory, you give the ball to the other team, and that will lose a locker room and a team for you, okay? So a man's got to do without taking a risk. There's not a lot of reward, but when you take unnecessary risks, you can cause a lot of damage to yourself and others. Bottom line. So what can Trey Lance do? Do you think Trey Lance can show out during the preseason and get the starting job this year, Game 1 in Pittsburgh? Not fair to Brock. He's not going to get to play this first season game. But do you see a scenario where Trey can play himself into the starting lineup this year? I think he's good enough. I think he's the right player. He's experience away. But it can't just be a little bit better. He's got to show out. He's got to win the team. And he's got to win the confidence of Kyle Shanahan to say, I'm backing this guy. And I'm not backing, Brock, who's got it done for us for 8 games. 8 games is better than no games. So I wouldn't give up on either Brock or Trey. But if you look at him right now, my feeling is Lance has it, right? And he has what it takes to overcome adversity, which he's already doing. He has the skill set. What he doesn't have is that, he don't have that sidearm like Brock. He doesn't quite have the feel, but you know what? You need experience to get the feel, and Brock is behind right now. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Brock had a rehab in the offseason. There's no way he can have. If you're based on skill and finesse and nuance and timing, you're going to lack that going in. So this is Trey's opportunity, and I think Brock sees it. So let's see what Trey does. Poll question. Do you think Trey Lance can show out enough today that he could win the job going into game 1? And I think this is his chance. If Trey shows out today, like really, really good, looking good, not just kind of good, showing out today, the door's open. But if he doesn't show out today, nothing else matters. Let's see what Trey Lance does with his chance to dance, baby.